Great morning to you guys. Coming to you again with another time of daily devotions in 3 minutes or less to start your day off right. And today's devotion is titled Living for God. We're going to read from Romans 14:12 from the NIV version, and then we're going to get into the devotion today. It says, "So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. We must all stand before Christ to be judged. We will each receive whatever we deserve for the good or evil we have done. There will be no hiding anything from him in that day. He will bring our darkest secrets to light and reveal our private motives. Then God will give to each one whatever praise is due. This event is the judgment seat of Christ, which happens after his second coming. The purpose of this accounting is to reward believers for the good they have done. But 1 Corinthians 3:11-15 is clear that selfish works will be burned up. This ought to spur you to do your best for Christ now. You don't want to enter heaven with little or no reward. Jesus promised that God would reward faithful, diligent service for him, and said you'd be called to give an account for idle words and an idle life. It matters very much how you live. Many times, guys, we see people taking advantage of grace. And what I mean by that is, because Christ has died on that cross and given us grace, we don't acknowledge that we ought to leave sin behind. We ought to leave our bad habits behind. We ought to leave the things that kept us bound behind because he has set us free. If you're free from chains and shackles, do you still keep those shackles on you, or do you shake them off so you can walk away from them? If sin was the chain that once bound us, but Christ has set us free from sin, we now have the power and ability through his death and his resurrection, through his sacrifice, through him overcoming, to walk away from those sins and walk away from those habits, those sinful thoughts, those evil desires that man has within his heart. And we can now walk in the newness of life that he gives us. So my encouragement to you today is the grace that God has given you, the grace that Jesus Christ has given you. Take advantage of that grace, not to abuse it, but rather to be grateful for it so that you can walk away from bad habits, walk away from sin, and walk in the abundance and the newness of life that Christ meant for you guys. Have an awesome day today. God bless you. Take care.